Hello everyone. In the previous video, we built this section of the Nebulon-B that has the cargo containers on the sides. And for this video, I'll be focusing on the front top section. Here's the shape of the Nebulon-B, and I'll be building this specific portion right here. So my plan is that in this area there will be a room, specifically the one which is the medical bay in which Luke and Leia were standing in the last scene of episode 5. I'll start off with making the skeleton structure, same type which I've used so far throughout the build. And when I was looking at a few images of Nebulon-B, I saw that the front of it has this round structure. This is the mock-up I've built so far, but that could change. I'll show you how I've built it in a second, but right now my idea is to have the room somewhere in this section of the ship. So for that front part, these are the pieces I used, added some plates to them, and that's it. Okay, so we know there is the medical bay. I'm thinking somewhere around this area, it will be elevated around this height. And in the movie, they showed a scene of the bacta tank. That could be like a smaller room to the left. Maybe on a plate that's slightly larger. We'll figure that out later. Right now, I want to build the supports for the medical bay. I'm thinking of the slanted bricks just to, make it look more interesting. I don't see any practical purpose for it yet. And yeah, it's a little bit difficult to build because right now the Nebulon-B is standing on one leg, but we'll just deal with it. So here's what I've made so far. And looks alright. Doesn't match the size that I was planning, but maybe that's better. Instead of having two rooms, one large and small, it'll just be one altogether. And while catching my breath, I thought of a practical use for these angled bricks. So the walls of this Nebulon-B are like at a 45-degree angle, somewhere in this area. But first, let's close these gaps so it doesn't bother us too much. So these bricks with these studs and stuff inserted, and boom, for those of you who are sleeping, wake up, good morning. So I've built this so far, and I think it's alright. Okay, no need for the bright lights anymore, so we're going back to the video. So the front, this rounded shape that I built before, I think it should be attached somewhere here, but we'll know that later on once we attach it. And right now the Nebulon-B is a bit deflated. Let me quickly make some kind of support structure. Well, at least it's not green. Otherwise it would have been like a creeper from Minecraft. At least it's standing up straight and it's easier to build. It is now the next day, and I have finally cleared out the table out of all unnecessary bricks. I can finally start focusing on this build. And just as I was about to finish the skeleton structure, I ran out of these type of bricks. I've ordered them like 3 times with like 50 to 100 bricks each, and still I don't have enough. Luckily, I got a new delivery of bricks moments ago, and here it is. And I think this should be enough to finish the job. I know you'll be very disappointed to hear this, but LEGO Pro Bricks is not going to do an ASMR video of opening these plastic bags. We're just going to get straight into it. Now, before I mount this rounded shape, I think that I'll just build a second layer of bricks all the way across, and then we'll go from there. In the meantime, I've been thinking about the room that I want to build. So here we have this section that I'm building right now. From episode 5, we know that the shape of the window through which Luke and Leia watch the Millennium Falcon fly away looks something about as you see right here. I plan to make sort of like a frame and have this be a single piece. After another hour of making some modifications, yep, that detail that I built underneath the room is gone, and I increased the overall size of the room. So here we are. I did end up deleting a good amount of footage showing how I built the room and then progressed it, then just broke it all apart, came back to this. My main reason behind this was to leave more space to actually piece the skeleton together so that the overall structure does not fall apart. And to show you this, I'm gonna lift it as soon as I can detach it. So here, rotating, it's not breaking apart, pretty good. Shake it, nothing happens. Further into the build, I've placed Luke and C-3PO for size reference, and I've built this frame to act as a window for the room. My plan is to have it attached at an angle, something like this. After looking at some images from the scene in episode 5, I built this back wall for the room. I guess this is just a sample for now, it's not the final version, just to see how it looks. If I attach the window, this looks alright for now, but when I place Luke inside, you can see that he barely fits inside. I mean, I have to fit a chair, and initially I planned to install a back-to-tank in this room, so, I mean, space is very limited, so probably the best thing to do is just to have no back wall at all. And now I've come up with this mechanism. So here's how the frame moves up and down, and this might not be necessary, but let's see. I also started experimenting with different shapes of the seat, which Luke sits in the medical bay. I was attaching side room, see how it fits. Does it work? Place C-3PO side, and I came to the realization that maybe the entire room should be lowered by like 2 studs, like up to this line. It will be very difficult to enclose it on top, especially when you think about at these plates that I have to insert, which are like 45 degrees. The top section of the frame doesn't exactly fit. And I also redid the seat entirely. I made it a bit smaller. I gave it different legs. I think they look kind of funny, but oh well. Let's remove the room. There's a lot of work to do, but I'll fast forward to the part when I'm finished the fit. The remodeling has been completed, and I also removed the entire idea of having the moving frame, which is why these angled pieces have been replaced with just smooth tiles. So yeah, that window's probably not going to work anymore. Instead, I'm just going to connect the structure on top and leave it all open. Most likely in the future, the plates that create the outside of the structure, man, these minifigures' legs don't bend at all. I think I gotta grease it up later. And even broke the seat in the back. But yeah, as I was saying, without the wall, I think there's just more space for the room. So now I have completed the frame above. I think it looks alright. And I'll just add a layer of support. Make the structure more sturdy. So I've completed that part. And the end result looks pretty satisfying. I like the angled bricks on top of the room. You can now see that the plates that I wanted to attach at a 45-degree angle will fit perfectly fine. There's no space for them. Now I've covered the entire outside skeleton all with light gray bricks. Also, in the front, I started putting more details into this section. And to me, I think this is the most interesting part of the build. You get to add these little details. So after I look at a image of this Nebulon-B, I don't follow every single detail exactly. In fact, I don't for any of my builds. I just know that the general shape and idea of the build, and then I just use my creativity and add as much details that I think make it look better. Doesn't necessarily have to be 100% accurate, but the overall outcome will look pretty close to the final design. So, as I was saying before, I want to add these angled bricks. Right now, everything is light gray. You may think, why did I just cover this entire structure in light gray if later on I'm probably going to cover it with dark gray, which we'll see later on. Not only is it easier for me to show you each step of this build, but it's also easier for me to see, for example, this light gray holds the entire structure together. I'll be covering it with dark gray like this. Now I know that this is the part where mostly is like the finished top layer, and I can add all these little bricks on top. Now to build the shell of this Nebulon-B, I select these pieces, sort of like hinges, for them to hold the plates at an angle. And this is kind of like temporary. I'm not sure this will be the final method for me to hold the shell of the Nebulon. So I attach them like this, and I'll start building the shell, and we'll see how it goes. And the Nebulon has a lot of these triangle shapes, so I pull out the boxes for all my pieces and just sort through them. You're like, this one's good, that one, I probably don't need it. Maybe that one, most likely not. And then after, I would say, an hour, this is what I got. I didn't show step by step because I redid it probably like 5-7 times. You can see how it's being held together by those hinges, which I showed earlier. Also, for now, I've only built one half of it, just this side only, to get an idea. If I like it, I'll do the opposite side, same way. Now, the window, I'm not sure about. Maybe I'll have a plate that covers it entirely, because the actual ship's medical bay is a lot smaller and the window is somewhere in the bottom right. And over here is a Millennium Falcon. And luckily, I got like a free Lego set for my recent order. This Millennium Falcon might be a little too big for the mock that I'm building, but let's see, maybe it'll just be perfect. I'll probably show it in the next video. And now, this concludes part 3 of my Nebulon-B building series. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think. Do you like the room that I selected? What I placed inside? Should I include the back to tank? Maybe the left side? Should the overall design of how the room is displayed changed? Right now, I really like it how it looks, but it's not too accurate. Maybe the walls will be entirely covered and then like a top portion is like removed, and then you could see this window. But let me know what you think, and I'll be reading the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.